Welcome to
Theories
of the third kind.
Welcome to Theories of the Third Kind. My name is Aaron. The other host that is joining me is Danielson.
Hello.
Now, before we start today's episode, we do have a very short announcement we have to make.
If you would like to support the show, you could do so by joining our premium subscription service, Supercast. For just $6.66 a month, you can join and get weekly premium audio episodes that are all ad-free and access to our entire back catalog of over 200 plus premium episodes.
Which today, we did an episode over the
Order of the Solar Temple.
It's about a cult that ends up killing themselves.
Mass suicide or mass murder. You decide.
Also, if you're a big baller and you're a shot caller and you would like to watch us, you can get access to our exclusive video episodes, which are the premium episodes, but the video versions of them for $9.99 a month. And I think right now, if you go to Supercast, it's, what is it? $6.66 for the video.
Currently right now it says $9.99 a month, but we will have that changed.
We will have it changed. The promo price will come back for $6.66. You not only get the audio, but also the video. And that is only until the start of the new year. But if you get it, it will extend past that. It's a lifetime guarantee.
It's a lock-in price of $6.66 a month for the video and audio.
So if you want to get access to that, go to theoriesofthethirdkind.com, and we should have a Supercast sign-up button right there in the middle of our website. You can click on it. Yep, it's an orange button. Click on it. Or you can go to our link tree. It's going to be there. Or you can click on the link down below. We'll have one down below. Yeah, we'll have one down below because this is on YouTube. Click on it.
Now, we know things are tough out there right now, so if you can't afford a premium membership, but you still want to help us out, you can do so by leaving us a written review on iTunes or Spotify.
That helps us out a lot.
However, don't feel pressure to leave us one. If you don't want to, then that's fine. We just want you guys, girls, aliens, reptilians, Bigfoot, Sasquatches, Chupacabras, ghosts, Illuminati members, underground lizard people, whoever or whatever you are, to enjoy the show. Also, remember, our content is entirely human-made. No AI was harmed or used in the process, other than the basic for our graphic.
Yeah, we get the base background of the graphic done by AI, ChatGPT. Thank you for that. And then we modify it ourselves in Photoshop.
Or we can go back to me making some shitty-ass graphics. Dolce base. That's all I have to say.
He did the Dolce base graphic.
It was funny.
A plus.
For effort.
All right. So that's the end of our announcements. And today's episode is over the New Jersey drones. We've gotten an ungodly amount of emails requesting this. And if somehow you're living under a rock, for the past few weeks, there have been multiple drones in various spots around the skies of New Jersey and also New York. And these drones are all different sizes. It's become a huge deal. So much so that the FBI is investigating it, and the president was even briefed on it. But somehow, our state and government officials have no clue who owns these drones, where they are coming from, and why they are in our skies. They have no explanations for them.
Damn.
Now, before we jump into the timeline of the drones being over New Jersey, how they arrived and what they're currently doing, let's first have a quick history lesson over drones in general. So, Dan, can you start our history lesson off for us today?
So before we talk about the history of drones, we first need to discuss what they are exactly. Drones are small or medium-sized unmanned aerial vehicles that can fly throughout the air, like planes, but are also able to hover in place for an extended period of time.
You can operate these drones remotely with a controller, or they can be operated independently based on a set of instructions in their computer system. Now, some drones are powered by an electric jet or combustion motor. Also, they have a GPS system, a high-resolution camera, and sometimes they contain a radar system, infrared system, and even weapons attached to them, such as missiles or bombs.
Now, there are two main types of drones that are used. You have the military drones and then the personal drones. Military drones are primarily used for military actions such as surveillance and remote targetings. Personal drones are used for commercial and recreational purposes, primarily for aerial videography and photography, also some individual race drones, which that shit makes me sick to watch.
Yeah, they put on that VR headset and they race their drones through these obstacles. Damn.
I tried to watch them, can't do it, it's too fast, too everywhere.
And furious.
They drift.
All right. Now that we have an understanding of what drones are, let's talk about the history of them. So, Dan, I'm going to ask you, if you had to guess, don't cheat and look, okay? If you had to guess, when do you think the first historical use of a drone was, of it being pretty much an unmanned aerial vehicle? When was it first used? 10 years ago? 50 years ago? 100 years ago? Or more?
I'd say back in the 1950s or 60s, maybe 70s.
Nope.
Further?
Yep. The first real unmanned aerial vehicle, aka drone, happened back in 1782. So way back then, there was these two brothers that lived in France together. These brothers created these unmanned balloons that they launched into the air, which these balloons are now known as the pretty much hot air balloons.
Oh, I didn't think about balloons. I was thinking about the little remote helicopters that you can get when you're like a kid.
Yeah.
Those are technically unmanned once they're in the air, but you're controlling with the controller.
Yeah.
Anyway, now following that, not much happened for quite a while after these hot air balloons were created. But over 60 years, later in 1849, the country of Austria was beefing with Venice. Now, Austria wanted to overtake Venice, but was having trouble because it was surrounded by water. So the Austrians had to come up with a plan.
On August 22nd of 1849, Austria gathered up 200 giant-ass hot air balloons and mounted bombs on those bitches. Each balloon carried 33 pounds of explosives and were set with a half-hour time fuse. The Austrians decided to launch a secret attack against Venice and release these balloons in hopes that they would fly over to that area. The fuse would go off, it would pop the balloon, and it would drop the bombs down below. However, things did not work that way.
The Austrian troops waited for the proper wind conditions and released the balloons. The balloons began to rise into the sky to about 4,500 feet. At the same time, though, the Venetian citizens came out of their homes and began crowding the streets and looking into the far distant skyline. Like, oh, what's that?
They kind of got scared because initially they thought that, oh shit, they're sending those things over here towards us. What are they? They thought they might have been filled with troops or, something crazy.
I mean, 200 of them being sent over.
Yeah. Well, it becomes a disaster fairly quickly for the Austrians.
Uh-oh.
Because all of a sudden the wind direction changed and the balloons started heading back towards the Austrian troops. The balloons began exploding in midair and then would drop the bombs down below on the troops. At this time, the Venetian citizens began realizing what was happening, and they began to clap and cheer every time a cloud of smoke appeared in the air from one of the balloons exploding on the Austrian army. So needless to say, it was a giant fuck up.
So 10 years go by. In June of 1862, an intriguing patent for a flying machine that can hold bombs was filed in Massachusetts. So this flying machine held hydrogen gas, and with steam power, its wings were pivoted from horizontal to vertical.
Then, only 7 months later, an individual named Charles Perry from New York, he also registered a patent for a hot air balloon that carried a basket with a timing mechanism, and when the timing mechanism went off, it tipped over, which would release a bomb out of the side of it, and it would fall down below.
Then, less than 20 years later, in 1898, the United States began using a kite with a camera fitted onto it. These flying cameras recorded pictures in a 90-second period of time. They were used for reconnaissance and surveillance during the Spanish-American War.
Did you know that?
I did not know they used kites and put cameras on them. I mean, smart.
Yeah. Then, in 1917, a groundbreaking event pretty much shook the scientific community. The U.S. Army commissioned the Dayton Wright Airplane Company to design the Kittering aerial torpedo, aka the Bug. Now, this aerial torpedo, aka the Bug, was launched from a four-wheeled dolly that ran down a portable track.
The Bug's system of internal preset electrical controls stabilized and guided it toward a target. After a predetermined length of time, a control closed an electrical circuit which shut off the engine.
Then the wings were released, causing the Bug to pretty much plunge down towards Earth, where its 180 pounds of explosive detonated on impact. Pilotless, with preset controls, it tumbled to Earth after an electrical circuit detonated its devastating bombs on board. Ironically, the Bug was never successfully used in combat, in spite of the fact that the U.S. spent a whopping $275,000 on the development of it, which back then, that was a lot of money.
That was a lot of money.
Even today, that's a lot of money.
Following that, the mid-1940s had a big impact on drone development. The GB-1 glide bomb was designed to bypass German air defenses, carrying a deadly 2,000-pound bomb.
Which we have a photograph of that, which we'll post up right now for everyone who is watching on YouTube, which if you're not, you should be. Take a look at that thing.
But if you don't see it on YouTube, it's on our website. It'll be posted under today's episode.
Yeah. That's an ugly-looking drone.
I mean, it's technically a bomb, and then they just use clamps to attach wings and a tail to it.
Yeah.
And there's like a little motor.
Well, shortly after the GB-1 was developed, there was multiple other variations that were created, and the most successful one was the GB-4, which they called Robin. Now, this was the first television-guided weapon. However, these drones could not fly very accurately. Also, they could not operate in adverse atmospheric conditions.
So storms, windy.
Yeah, they were very limited in their capabilities.
Then, in the 1960s, during the Vietnam War, flashbacks, the United States began using the popular Lightning Bug drones. These drones flew at a very low altitude, and between 1964 to 1975, these Lightning Bug drones were involved in over 3,500 combat incidents in Vietnam. These drones would have been used more often, however, they were expensive to manufacture, which in today's money, these drones cost more than $1.3 billion to make. And that's just for one.
That's fucking crazy, isn't it? I did not know that they were using drones in Vietnam.
No, my dad never said anything about that.
Yeah.
Maybe I should ask my mom. She probably shot down a bunch of them with her RPG.
So following the Vietnam War, the United States began beefing with Cuba, and the U.S. began deploying drones as instruments of spying. These drones are pretty much deployed for surveillance over China, North Korea, and Cuba.
Then after that, we got into some beef with the Middle East in 1991 and entered into Desert Storm. During this period of the Gulf War, at least one drone, aka UAV, was airborne at all times, which if you get 3 kills in a row, you get a UAV call.
So here's a photograph of what was used during the Gulf War, and one of these was in the air at all times during that entire period. So 2 years later is when drones began to be used to monitor the environment and climate. However, in 1999 is when they started to be used for more darker purposes, not only surveillance, but also to take out whoever they wanted.
Targeting.
Yeah. The super advanced Predator drone was used by the United States for surveillance and the use of its Hellfire ASM missiles. And it was used in places of combat. We have a photograph of that right here.
Mm. Following that, in 2007, the Reaper, a more advanced version of the Predator drone, started being used in combat missions in Iraq and Afghanistan.
And there you go, right there. There's a photograph of that. They look similar.
You can see like it's upgraded more. The tail's been changed. The front's still the same. I guess that's where like the GPS camera stuff is at. Then
yeah,
looks like it holds 2 missiles, or no, still 1 missile.
Those are used constantly.
Yes.
Then in 2014, the United States military put their drone budget to $23.9 billion over a 5-year period. And it was during this period that drones exploded in popularity for recreational photo and video recordings. Pretty much the consumers started to be like, hey, we need to purchase these.
Then 2 years later, in 2016, the consumer drone popularity reached an all-time high. It was also during this time that drones got a bad name due to close calls with commercial aircrafts. As of today, the U.S. consumer drone market is valued at over $4 billion. Damn. The total amount of worldwide drone sales are expected to climb over $223 billion by the end of 2034.
And that right there is what drones are and a brief history of them. Now we are going to get into the meat of today's episode, the New Jersey drones.
So, over the past few weeks, there has been something strange happening in the skies above New Jersey. And no one knows what the fuck is going on. Not the police, not the government, not Daniel's son, not members of the United States Congress, not the FBI, not even the president.
Nobody knows the fuck's going on.
Coda don't even know. He knows everything. He sees all.
Yeah, but what they do know is that starting in mid-November of this year, at nighttime, dozens of drones have been spotted flying in the skies of New Jersey. Now, the initial sightings were reported in Morse and Somerset counties, and since then, they have expanded to at least over a dozen other New Jersey counties and have also appeared on Staten Island and in parts of Brooklyn, New York. No one knows where these drones are coming from, who is flying them, and why this is happening.
So when you say the word drone, a lot of people start to think that these things are the size of hobby drones that you can purchase at online or at Walmart, but that's not the case here.
No, they're not those small hobby drones that are like this big.
Yeah. These drones over New Jersey have been reported to be various sizes, ranging from the size of a 60-inch TV to the size of an SUV. Also, some of these have bright lights on them, and some of them are just completely dark.
Yeah, some of them have blinking red and blue lights. Others don't. It's very confusing. And these drones have been spotted above residential neighborhoods, critical infrastructures, including reservoirs, electrical transmission lines, rail stations, police departments, highways, and even over military installations. These drones also have appeared over sensitive sites, including Naval Weapons Station Earl, the Round Valley Reservoir, and the Emergency Communication Center.
Also, some of these drones were spotted over Trump's National Golf Club. Afterwards, the FAA prohibited drone flights over Trump's National Golf Club from November 22nd until December 6th. Then only a few days after that, more drones were spotted over a nearby military base again, which led the FAA to prohibit drones flight over the base from November 25th until December 26th.
So that's still in effect right now. Also, the FBI's Newark, New Jersey field office, they are the ones that's leading a multi-agency investigation into these drones, which includes federal, state, and local law enforcement.
Oh.
Federal authorities have come out and acknowledged that there are drones in the sky, that they are investigating them. They do not know their origin or purpose, and cannot say if the drones represent a direct threat to the public. Also, federal authorities have collected over 3,000 reports from the public via a tip line that they opened up.
Senior government officials, including the New Jersey governor and federal legislators, have begun working with the United States Department of Homeland Security and other agencies. Also, the White House has confirmed that President Biden is aware of the situation.
Now, with all of that happening, I do want to say that it is not illegal to fly a drone in New Jersey. As long as its operator is certified with the FAA, you can fly that motherfucker up wherever you wanted. Well, not wherever you wanted. It's only in unrestricted areas. Small, unregistered drones can be used for recreation use only, and they can be flown in areas that are not restricted. So, yeah, bigger drones have to be registered with the FAA, and there's a lot more rules. So that right there is what is happening over New Jersey in regards to the drones. However, our episode does not stop here, because now we are going to get into the strange facts and findings section, where we discuss all the weird stuff that we found while researching this topic. like multiple different videos and photos of the drones themselves, congressmen making some very strange claims, and other odd stuff.
So our first strange fact and finding is over actual photographs or videos of these drones. So over the past few weeks, like we said, there have been thousands of sightings of these drones over New Jersey. Of course, multiple individuals all over the internet, especially TikTok, have been able to capture some excellent videos of these drones. So we're going to go over a few of them now.
So our first example is one of the most clearest photographs taken so far of these drones. And we'll post that picture up right here so everyone can take a look at it. Also, if you're listening, then you can head over to our YouTube channel and watch us there. Or you can head to our website, theoriesofthethirdkind.com. Click on today's episode, and this photograph will be right there for you to take a look at. But as you can tell, it looks like a plane. It's in the shape of a plane. It has wings, it has a nose, it has a tail, it has lights on each wing, it has a red light underneath, it has 2 lights up above and down below. It looks like just an airplane.
How many airplanes? How many lights does an airplane have? I thought there was like 2 on each wing, like a white and a red.
I don't know. Let's look that up.
Yeah. See, how many lights are on an airplane? Depending on the model, they could be more. They're divided into categories: taxi lights, runway turn-off lights, landing lights, navigation lights, beacon lights, logo lights. Okay. So yeah, they have a shit ton of lights, but I guess only some of them are turned on during certain situations.
And this one only has 7 lights.
But that is a very odd looking drone
Compared
to the drones of personal use ones.
Yeah, like the DJI or
the DJI Mavic.
Whatever the hell it's called. Those are just round. They look like little mini UFOs.
Yeah, you got like the GoPro ones, which those are supposed to be really good.
Yeah. And these, I've seen a video of these drones flying over New Jersey, and it does sound like a plane flying over. It's what it sounds like. But they're not planes. They're something else.
What if they're just like miniature planes? And like instead of like people sitting in it, they're like laying down like a motorcycle on it. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be. So why don't you tell us about our second example?
All right. So our next example is a video from the TikTok users Sunshine Rose or Sunshine?
Sunshine Rose.
Okay, Sunshine Rose. So on December 11th, this individual went into their backyard in New Jersey and decided to shine a spotlight on a drone that was passing by. We have that TikTok video, and we're going to show it.
Now, if YouTube decides to slap us with a copyright strike or a copyright infringement on the video or a copyright claim, which they have done before, we're going to just snip this video out. And when we say we're going to play it, it's just going to go right to the end. And you can go to our website, theoriesofthethirdkind.com, and watch the video there because we'll have it posted there. But we're going to watch that video right now. So in this video, it's an individual that gets a spotlight out, and he knows that the drone is about to fly over his home. So he shines the spotlight onto the drone. Drone doesn't care. It keeps flying. And as you can tell, it looks like a plane. It has the alternating lights. It's odd.
That is pretty odd.
Look at it. That one almost looks triangular. That looks different. Does it not?
Yeah, what are those 2 top parts of it?
Yeah, it looks like teeth, kind of, like an animal. So like I said, majority of these drones are all different shapes and sizes, and they look different, at least from the videos that I had seen and the one we just saw right there, including our next example, which is a very unique one. An individual named Nancy O'Connell made a post on Facebook that had a photograph attached to it. The post stated, Sony A7IV 600mm lens. This is what I get after 3 nights of shooting. Little Egg Harbor. Since it seems to be relevant to this, somehow I am 61 years old and indeed a boomer and a paid photographer for almost 20 years. So yeah, not sure what the point was. Just one more thing. People keep saying that the government or whoever is deleting posts. Nah, it's people deleting them themselves because, wow. And then the photo attached to it is what she captured in the sky. Doesn't look like anything we had just seen. This is a freaking ball in on itself. What is that?
To me, that looks like, since she's taking pictures at night, the exposure is like open longer to absorb whatever light comes in. And it could be a drone, but the drone's moving, and while it's moving around, it's trying to get the picture to focus on it. So when it comes up blurry like that because of the light from it. That's exactly what that looks like to me. It could have been a drone, but this picture right here is a long exposure picture to me. That's what I think in my amateur, newbie-like photographer state.
I don't know anything about photography, so I'm not going to comment on it.
I tried to take a picture. So I had a camera set up for a while, and I tried to do kind of like stargazing. I had a very big lens for it and all that, and I was still learning on how to do like the long exposures to get really good pictures at night of stars and such like that. And you have to have it completely still to really get like a good picture. But if it moves and stuff, it'll be blurry. So that's what I see here from my experience. If I'm wrong, you can tell me.
Put in the comments down below. You're wrong, Dan.
You're wrong, Colonel Dan. You ain't got legs.
Nancy O'Connell's right.
I don't know. For a professional photographer, I figured she would have kind of realized that. But
no. All right, so let's get into our next strange fact and finding, which is about a comment made by a congressman. So there's this congressman named Jeff Van Drew, and he is on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee.
On December 11th, Congressman Jeff Van Drew went on Fox News and made a shocking statement. Jeff stated that he has heard from high sources that Iran is controlling the mysterious objects. He went on to say, and we quote,
Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones into everything that we can see or hear. And again, this information is from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Jeff also stated that the drones should be shot down, whether they're coming from Iran or regular citizens who fly drones as a hobby. He doesn't really give a shit. He thinks they should all be shot down. End quote.
Shortly after Jeff made that comment, news of this spread like wildfire. People began to think that maybe these drones are from Iran. However, the Pentagon came out and stated that there is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there is no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States. Also, they stated there was no evidence that these drones have originated from foreign adversaries or the United States military.
Yep. So they pretty much shot down his claims because his claims, I mean, they went viral fast. Within an hour, every news station was reporting that.
I mean, with all the shit going on in the world right now, and especially what's going on over there, it's believable.
Yeah. Well, on December 10th, Representative of New Jersey, Chris Smith, he made a statement about a conversation he had with a local police officer. This police officer told the representative that he had witnessed over 50 objects coming from the ocean, like up out of the ocean, and heading towards New Jersey. Everybody was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. The following day, on December 11th, New Jersey Senator Douglas Steinhardt, he made a statement saying that drones likely come from the Atlantic Ocean. Like these drones likely come from the Atlantic Ocean. The Pentagon and other federal agencies have yet to make a comment regarding these statements made by the congressman. So,
aliens
from our oceans. Weird.
So Atlantic Ocean, so this would be the Atlanteans.
Yeah.
If it was the Pacific, it'd be the Lemurians.
Mm-hmm. Last week's episode.
I mean, what if this would be if there was like a submarine in the Atlantic. You think when they launch
drones?
Yeah, when they launch missiles or whatever, it comes out from underwater. So if it was a drone, you have to launch it up and then it takes flight.
Maybe. That's a good idea. You need to patent that.
I think they already do. So yeah, that was that strange fact and finding. Our next strange fact and finding is about legislation that was introduced.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. You know what's coming up, Dan? The holidays.
Holiday shopping.
And with the holidays arriving comes stress. Stress of you being around your loved ones that you're supposed to love, but you're like, I don't know why my mother continues to tell me that I'm a loser and a failure at life.
They always want to see me every Christmas just to tell me that.
Now, that might mess with your mental health, and you're trying to think of ways to get that comfort back. Well, therapy is a great way to bring yourself some comfort that never goes away, even when the season changes.
I've been going to therapy, and it's helped me a lot, especially during the holiday seasons.
I have been going to therapy as well. It's nothing to be ashamed about. I'm actually proud of myself for going to therapy.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you as well, too.
Thank you.
I've been consistent. And therapy is not just for someone who's experienced, major trauma. Maybe you've had a recent breakup that went bad and you had to self-reflect and say, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I need help. And you don't do it for them, but you do it for yourself because you want to be a better version of yourself. And with BetterHelp, you can do that.
That's right. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime you want for no additional charge.
Find comfort this December with BetterHelp.
Visit betterhelp.com/theories today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/theories.
So while all this drone shit was happening, Congressman Josh Gottheimer introduced legislation. And by the way, legislation is just someone writing something up saying, hey, we need to make this thing. I wrote it up into the law of the land.
Yeah, we need to make it a thing. We need to make it a law. And here you go. Here's this piece of paper. This is the legislation. Turn it into law. So this congressman wrote up legislation that was for advanced drone tracking technologies to restrict weapon attachments to drones and to penalize individuals who have drones that interfere with emergency services, law enforcement, or military operations. Makes sense.
Makes sense.
You should already have that.
I mean, restrict weapon attachments to drones? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, though, as this legislation was written up, Senator John Bramnick suggested that there should be a temporary ban on drone use and purchases until the situation is resolved.
I don't see why. I mean, you can't do anything to stop the drones. They haven't been able to successfully shoot any down or stop them from going up, even though they have jammers for drones. Here's a fun fact. Every time the president of the United States goes somewhere, no matter where it is, the Secret Service carries drone jammers with them. And within a 3-mile radius, a drone that tries to enter that area dies. Can't control it.
Was Trump at his golf place or whatever when those drones were going in?
He wasn't. They were spotted over it. But they have those jammers. They really do exist. And either they haven't deployed them over New Jersey or they have deployed them and it doesn't affect these drones. But we'll save that for our theory section. Let's continue on with our next strange fact and finding, which is actually a story.
I'm retelling this.
Yeah. So a lot of people are talking about these drones being over New Jersey. There have been stories of other individuals around the world seeing drones in various important parts, like over other military installations. So I used to work in the nuclear field, and I used to work at Comanche Peak Nuclear Power Plant, and I worked there for almost 10 years. And I was one of the health physicists there. And I was at what they called Warehouse C, which is a building outside of the nuclear reactor, outside of the protected zone. It was an area where they stored nuclear waste, nuclear material in these sea lands. And then we would monitor them and then ship them off or receive radioactive shipments, stuff like that.
Sea lands, those big rectangle containers.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there one day. I'm eating lunch. And Larry, one of the guys who worked there.
Larry Bird?
No, Larry. He comes in and he goes, there's something weird out there going on. I'm like, huh? So then another coworker, Scott, gets up and walks outside. Larry goes and walks outside. There's another guy named Steve who was visiting. Not the older guy, Steve, but a different Steve, younger one. He was like the electronics guy. He went and looked out, and I could see them standing there through my window. I could see them standing there looking outside of the warehouse, all being like, huh. So I'm like, I got to go see what this is about. I get up and I walk. And as soon as I get to the roll-up doors where they're at, they're getting yelled at by somebody. What the fuck? In the middle of our parking lot, it's taped off. And there's one of those like tents that's put up. And under the tent are these individuals in suits. And then there are multiple like Explorers or Yukons that are all blacked out that was parked in front of this tent area. One of the individuals had these headphones, or not headphones, had these goggles on, and he was controlling something. He had like a big ass remote control. He was looking and controlling it. What the fuck is going on? Well, then those individuals, part of the FBI, they were screaming at all of us that were standing out there, go back inside. Go back inside. And Larry's like, what's going on? And they're like, go back inside, sir. So we were like, fuck it. Okay. We just went back inside. Very weird. So I decided to ask around to figure out what happened. The night before, the security people reported multiple drones hovering over the power plant, like over the containment area of it. And not just normal personal drones. These were like the ones that are being seen over New Jersey right now. Like big,
commercial,
like military grade drones. And they had no clue whose they were. So they reported this to the FBI. FBI took it as a big deal because it's a nuclear plant. They came, they set up shop. And what they were doing, they had an advanced drone out. So the nuclear plant had a big lake right next to it. The lake had, of course, a shoreline, and the shoreline was like a forest. What they were doing is they were flying their advanced drone over that area to see if there was any individuals that had like recently walked up to the shoreline and deployed their drone. And that's where they were getting access to, because it's very hard to get that up and close to the reactor. And the only way they could have done it was to get way up close on the shoreline and then launch their drone. So they were pretty much surveilling the area.
So the FBI one probably had like infrared, maybe?
Yeah.
So
it was huge and decked out.
Damn.
So yeah. That wasn't the only time. There was multiple times when I worked there, at least 5 or 6 times, where there were reports that I was aware of that a security detail member or some other individual reported a large military-like drone hovering over the reactor. Multiple ones at one point. So yeah, that's my story, and that was back in 2015 that shit was going on. So almost 10 years ago.
I've been like, nope, I'm out of there.
Yeah.
If I was working inside the containment area.
All right. So let's go on to our next strange fact and finding, which this occurred a few days ago. I was driving home after a long workout session, driving back home. Now, we live in Austin. As I'm driving, I see these 3 large lights in a weird kind of like display, sort of. And I whip my phone out and I start recording. And this is what I got. So as you can see, there's no sound on it. I took the sound off because there's music in the background. But as you can see, I'm driving along and I got the camera pointed outside the passenger side, kind of like front windshield area. And you'll be able to see one light appears and then 2 other. There's one light kind of in the middle to the right, a less brighter one up above, and then one down below. And you see me zoom in right there. And they were just hovering there. And then they started moving. And they were there for a while. There you go.
See, I questioned it at first looking at it because at the very start, you see the 3 lights, and then up above it, you see 3 lights as well. But you could definitely tell the difference that the top three were a reflection.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom three weren't. And then as like you were driving, they separated more and all that. So
Ended up dispersing, and I think two of them disappeared because I continued to watch them. And there were multiple people pulled over on the highway that had their phones out and were recording them. And this happened a few days ago in Austin, Texas. Really weird. So why don't you tell us about our last strange fact and finding, Dan?
all right, so our last strange fact and finding is about a unique video that we stumbled upon. A few days ago, an individual posted a video on TikTok with the title, Weird Shaped UFO Filmed in New Mexico. Now, we do have this video, and we're going to play it for you. So, here it is.
So this video is, that's a weird looking drone, is it not? That's the weirdest one I've seen.
The fact that it was rotating.
It was like a geometric, almost like, do you remember that jade ball that I got you from Florida that was a carved jade ball inside of another ball?
Yeah.
That's what it kind of looks like. And it's like a rotating in on itself and has lights on each point. It's very weird. And it sort of looks like the third example that we talked about earlier.
Oh, Nancy's?
Yeah, Nancy's ball.
I mean, if you took that video right there and then try to do a long exposure picture of it, like Nancy did right there, that's probably what it would look like.
Yeah.
Because it was moving and everything. But yeah, that's a very interesting one because you have lights that are stationary, but then there are three rotating lights going like a vertical rotation on it.
Yeah.
That's
strange. Let's get into our theory section and talk about what these drones could be. All right. Our first theory we have is called man-made, but alien technology.
Aliens.
This theory states that the drones we are seeing are made by our own government. However, the technology that is being used to create these drones was originally alien technology that was found during the Area 51 debacle. And to back this theory up, we know that Bob Lazar has previously stated that the United States government had retrieved crashed UFOs that ran on some type of anti-gravity technology, and this was in the 1950s. However, Bob stated that over the years, the government has been unsuccessful in reverse engineering that technology. Now, with the advancement of artificial intelligence, the government has been able to use some advanced or unrestricted artificial intelligence program that they have that only they have access to. And what they did is they are like, hey, AI program, artificial intelligence, you're super smart. Help us reverse engineer these UFOs that we recovered back in the 1950s that we've just been holding on to, not knowing what to do with. So the artificial intelligence was like, sure, yeah, well, I'll help you out. And the government was able to then use this technology to create anti-gravity drones. And then these anti-gravity drones were deployed, and they are what we are now seeing over New Jersey. Doesn't really make sense why the government would do that, but I could see them being man-made but alien technology, you know?
Yeah. Or these drones are from the government, but they are not anti-gravity technology, but instead are just regular drones. Why would the government be doing this? Well, there are a couple, number of reasons why they would be possibly doing this.
One of the reasons is they could be testing a certain government branch of local police to see how they respond to drone warfare. And then they collect that data to create protocols and procedures on how cities should defend against drones. So they could be secretly testing New Jersey and then use that as their pretty much procedures and protocol write-ups from lessons learned.
Wouldn't they just announce that? Like, hey, we're going to be doing testing?
No, because you would want to see how they truly react.
Mm.
Yeah. Or it could be this next one.
The second possible reason would be they could be doing this as a way to not allow civilians to purchase or fly drones anymore without the blowback from the public. For example, all these drones over New Jersey, it forces lawmakers to make the purchase and flying of drones illegal to civilians. Just like how that one congressman or representative suggested that, all sales of drones be stopped until this is figured out, which then they would probably never figure it out. So nobody buying drones anymore.
So the whole motive behind that would have been, hey, the government releases just regular drones, causes uproar. They don't tell any about it. Congressmen, legislators, they pass laws that doesn't allow civilians to purchase drones anymore. And the government pretty much is successful with their mission instead of just pretty much outlawing drones altogether and getting public, uproar.
They need a
reason why.
A reason why. Something that causes discourse or panic among people for them to have a legit reason to ban it.
Yeah. Or the government could be using these drones for this next reason. And by the way, I just want to make this statement before we say this next reason. We are not right. We are not left. We are politically aligned with the power of the people. And we just want to make that clear.
Bigfoot 2028.
Yeah.
One day he'll make it.
So what's the final reason?
So the final reason is that the government is wanting Biden or Harris to stay in office. So before Trump becomes the new president, a war will be started. This war will be intense and allow the delay of ushering in the new president.
So I'm guessing what they mean by war will be starting is that these drones will somehow be framed as a foreign adversary's drone, which will then pull us into war with somebody else. Once we get into war, they'll be like, hey, we're going to stop all, transitions of power.
Yeah. Like say right now with the congressman stating that it was the Iranians on their mothership launching these drones with all the shit going on overseas and everything like that. It would put us into like a war zone. I mean, bringing the war zone to the United States then, if anything, if they're using drones on United States grounds.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into this next theory, which is called civilians. So this theory is that these drones are just civilian drones, that a group of people have gathered together, and it is either a viral marketing campaign gone way too far, or it is some individuals trying to troll the government or expose how awful the United States' military and law enforcement is at protecting civilians against drones. I mean, that could make sense. Here lately, we have seen an uptick in the increase of drone use in the Ukrainian and Russian war. So they use drones all the time to bomb each other. So maybe somehow these civilians saw that footage of the Ukraine and Russia war and saw how much they use drones and thought to themselves, hey, we need to take a drastic step in upping the United States' drone defenses. So instead of them just talking about it, the civilians, they decide to fly up drones every night, cause huge panic for weeks, and then they're just going to randomly disappear. This will cause lawmakers to put laws into place to protect the United States from drone attacks. I mean, if that was the goal, then it's already working because, lawmakers are already proposing new laws to limit the use of drones and up the defenses against them. So this could be a valid theory.
What if it means civilians, but more so, what if it's paparazzis?
Paparazzis?
Yeah, they're sort of sneaking in, climbing trees and shit, taking pictures. They're learning how to use drones, taking pictures of people. I'm trying to figure out if there's like any celebs or anybody that was in New Jersey at the time that they'd be trying to find. I mean, take the one over the golf course for Trump.
They've been doing it for weeks, though.
Yeah, I mean.
And there's like hundreds of them.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's like, well, if there's hundreds, probably not paparazzis.
No, It could be this next theory, which is a simple one.
This theory is aliens. These drones are all aliens. We copied their technology, So what's to say they haven't seen our drones in the sky and decided to recreate our technology, create a bunch of drones and launch them in the sky as a way to try and communicate with us, but a more advanced drone, probably actually using anti-gravity.
Yeah, that's why the drone looks a little off, and the lights are off. Maybe they saw our drones and they're like, okay, you create our UFOs, we're going to create your drones. And they launch them up into the sky and like, why aren't these motherfuckers talking to us?
Trying to communicate with lights.
Yeah.
All we're getting is someone shining a big ass spotlight on us.
All right, so let's talk about this next theory, which is called foreign country. And this one's a pretty simple one. These drones are not aliens or the United States military. Instead, these drones are highly secretive next generation drones that are owned and developed by another country. This other country is testing out our response systems and gathering intelligence based on certain landmarks, land masses, and then also scanning for underground bases in case of a future war breaking out and they know, hey, there's a underground base in a specific part of New Jersey. So pretty much that theory is that it's a foreign country doing it, which there's a reason why I don't think that's the case. What happened a year ago when China flew a balloon over the United States?
Well, they followed it for quite a while, and
then they shot that son of a bitch down.
Yeah.
It's been 2 weeks. It's not a foreign adversary's drone. If it was, we would have known already and they would have shot them all down. The fact that they haven't done that tells me it's not anything foreign. Either it's them, the government, or it's aliens, or they don't know whose it is. It's one of those three. Or it could be this next one.
All right, so this next theory that we have is called Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. This theory states that the private military companies Raytheon and Lockheed Martin are the ones behind the drones over New Jersey. These companies are using the social media hype around a UAP invasion to test their crafts. They've been reverse engineering these things for a while. The hardest part is the flight tests. They need to do test flights of their new craft without it getting spotted. All their test flights are done at night. So what do? They release a swarm of advanced drones over New Jersey to get the public to pay attention to that while they test out their newer top secret technology aircrafts in the sky. So sleight of hand, look over here, look at all these drones. This guy's flying around.
What do you think of that?
I could definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that it might be sleight of hand for something, but that's my personal thought. We'll get into that here in a bit.
So our last theory is a very odd one that I ended up stumbling upon as I was researching this topic. There are a group of individuals that believe that they are being stalked. It's called gang stalking. We did an episode over it. They believe that federal, local, law enforcement are stalking them. And as crazy as that sounds, some of the stories that we went over during the gang stalking episode have credibility to them, that they are being stalked in some way by a federal agency.
Yeah.
Now, this theory involving the drones states that these drones are part of a secret federal surveillance system that is being released. The government has developed these surveillance drones, and they are slowly rolling them out and testing them over New Jersey. So what these drones do is they go up way into the sky, and then they come down and they hover, and then they map out the area, and then they rotate. So you have 50 to 100 of them doing this rotation, and it's being mapped out. But this rotation is made in such a way that their monitoring area there's no area that's uncovered. These drones are specifically spaced apart a certain amount so the area covers all the maximum areas, and they rotate around and stop and hover and rotate around. And they're getting live feedback, the government or whoever's doing the surveillance, of all activities in the area. People walking, people running, any muggings, somebody driving too fast, somebody driving too slow. It's also monitoring the sounds. So let's say if you're like walking down the street and you're having a phone conversation, they can take their drones that are in that area, lock in on it, zoom in, and hear your entire conversation. Not like they need to anyways. They can just call the NSA up and they can tap into your phone immediately. But regardless, they not only have that, but then they start tracking everyone. They create a map of your footprints of where you go, and a lot of people will say, well, they already do that with phones. Yeah, they do that with phones, but there are people who don't have phones. So it's an advanced way for them to monitor us, but this is going to be a surveillance, and they're going to push it as a way to, it's going to make you more safer because it will allow us to monitor crime 24/7. Have you ever seen the video game Cyberpunk 2077? Yeah. They have drones in the sky all the time, and they're the police drones. I believe that's what this is. These are advanced surveillance drones that's being tested right now over New Jersey. And the government's not going to fess up to it. The drones are just going to disappear, and then everyone's going to wonder, what the fuck happened there? And a couple of years from now, something bad's going to happen, a tragedy. And then the government's going to say, well, we could have prevented that with these drones. And they're going to roll out their surveillance drone technology. It's going to monitor us 24/7. You're going to have no privacy. Big Brother 24/7.
I'm trying to find that Netflix show. So they didn't use well, technically not flying drones, but on the ground drones. And each drone has a specific area of like range that it can detect everything and all that. And these drones are like spread out through the whole city. So, and the evil villain actually has like a 3D map and can find anybody and keep track of everything going on.
Mm-hmm.
All that. It was like an animated show that I decided to watch, and it was actually really good. But can't think of the name though. But yeah, like when these people, these like freedom riders type people, they're like driving gas vehicles or gas motorcycles, since everything was like more electronic and could be tracked. They wanted to get rid of them and all that shit. But yeah, they could find anybody, they could change everything around and all that.
Yeah, they're going to have it to where you're watching TV, and if you look away from an ad, they're going to be able to tell, and they're going to say, hey, Dan, you looked away from our
the phones do that.
Ad. Look back.
It's
eye tracking technology.
Yeah, it's like the phone tracking, whatever. It's like if you're watching a video and you look away, it's supposed to like pause or something till you look back. I mean,
they're going to roll out ads with that. Anyway, we're living in good times now, people. Enjoy it now. It's all coming to an end.
Yep.
But with that being said, that's our last theory involving this subject. And now we're going to get into our personal thoughts and theories. And I ask you, Dan, what do you think these drones are? If you had to pick one out of all of them.
Aliens.
No, really?
No. I mean, it'd be pretty cool.
It would be cool.
But I don't know. I feel like it's a sleight of hand of something. Like, look over here, something else is going on. What it is, I don't know.
Do you think they're ever going to figure out what they are and who owns them? Or they're just going to disappear?
They may figure out who it is, but it might be a fall company or something like that.
Ooh, okay.
Be like, oh yeah, it was just this company testing out their new stuff or something like that.
And then the company goes under.
And they go under. Ooh. But all that data and information that they collected sent over somebody else, maybe. But I do feel like it's distracting us from something else. I mean, most of it's in New Jersey happening.
Some of it's in New York as well.
New York.
There are some reports that are starting to come out from different cities are starting to see them now.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the ones in Texas, the weird lights, whether they were drones or UFOs, but.
What are they? We might not ever know, or we might find out tomorrow.
But I was looking up when you were, from that first picture where it looks like a plane, I was like, is there a drone that's shaped like a plane? There is.
Yeah, there's one back in the 60s.
It's, well, like the newer stuff now. There's a RC-like airplane that's a drone / airplane. So it's the JJRC M02. This little thing. It's just like that, those fighter jets that can go straight up and then fly off. These things have where the propellers can move vertical or horizontal. So they'll go vertical to drone, so you fly around like a drone. Then it can transfer into a little airplane mode. Fume.
Damn, Inspector Gadget up in this bitch.
Yeah. But I haven't seen any that were real big. They're, small ones.
These drones are huge.
Honestly, how hard would it be to create a bigger version of that? Probably really not that hard.
My thing is, why haven't they shot any of them down? I mean, you just get some people that live out in the country that need to...
Dude, there's been civilians that
need some scrap metal.
I mean, when drones first came out, people were so worried about their invasion of privacy. They were shooting, throwing stuff at them and all that. Like you said, why aren't they doing that?
Yeah, I mean, what's the going rate for catalytic converter on a drone? You know?
I mean, if they had one of those.
You just got to tell that to a tweaker and he'll have all of them shot down.
Yeah, I mean.
But anyway, I think that these drones are probably government. I'm not going to go with foreign. If they were foreign, they would have already been shot down out of the air. The fact that the government has not shot them out of the air tells me that they belong to them. They belong to some governmental branch that is keeping it under wraps. And for what reason are they doing this? I have no idea. Maybe it's like a wag the tail thing. Hey, look over here while we do this. Or maybe it's them testing out the responses of local officials to see how they write the procedures and protocols of drone warfare. Or maybe it's just them testing stuff. I don't know.
Local police testing out their new drones that they got to fight crime.
No, it wouldn't be the local police, because you got the FBI now, and once federal agents get involved, and they're working with the local police.
And that's a good distraction to make you think, oh, maybe it's not them.
Oh, okay. Well,
because I mean, say instead of having to deploy a helicopter for a car chase and everything, now you deploy drones. You won't have to worry about looking straight up and seeing this big ass helicopter chasing you. You just have these little drones that are staying back and following behind you quietly.
That got me thinking. If these drones, let's say, were from the government, and they were their surveillance drones, the new ones, and they secretly rolled them out as a way to gather data from the public and see how well they work, gather data in the public's reception of them, and to see how well they are protected from being shot down by the public, because I guarantee you some of the public's already tried shooting them down and they haven't been able to. So then they're like, okay, public can't shoot them down. They can't fuck our surveillance drones. Let's roll them out and monitor everyone 24/7. You're going to watch me beat it? Good luck.
What are the gun laws in New Jersey?
I don't know.
Because if they have very strict gun laws, they might not be able to own guns to be able to shoot these things down.
I figured it wouldn't matter. You got UFOs flying up above head, anything goes. My thing is, if this is, an alien invasion, I want to volunteer my body to the other aliens. I want to give birth. I don't want to give birth. I don't want to give birth. I want to give my seed over to the other aliens as a way for them to birth my child. The first half human, half alien. And then I would like to be the representative for that alien committee, the Alien Sex Committee. And then I'm going to start an intergalactic dating website app. Sign up now. galacticdating.com.
Ooh, nice.
All right.
But yeah, New Jersey has the 9th strictest gun law.
Okay.
So, I mean, New Jersey and New York would be the top places to probably test them for not being shot down. Now, I don't know.
But you figured you'd want them to try to get shot down. Then you could fix your shit and be like, okay, now we have technologies to where they can't be.
Stages. Next, like you said, it's starting to show up everywhere else now.
Oh.
So doing it in stages. Let's test out places that not many people have, long range rifles or a lot of them. And then we'll start moving into different states and seeing how they're taken. So,
yeah. Well, regardless, whatever's happening is weird. It is unheard of, and this has never happened before. And at least on this massive a scale. and it is taking the media by storm. So if you or a loved one have seen these drones in person, comment down below or send us an email. We would love to hear from you.
That's right.
But with that being said, this is the end of today's episode. I want to thank you for joining us and thank you for all of your love and support, and we are proud of you.
That's right. Much love.
So with that being said, Dan, you want to roll us out?
Sure will. It's okay to be out of this world with your thoughts.
Because you are not alone.
They're drones. They're UFOs. They're aliens.
They're spying on you. They want to see your ding dong.